Welcome to Come to the Brink. I'm Zoe Flowers, and this is a space for those of us navigating profound life changes like loss, trauma, caregiving, and transformation. It's about what happens when everything you thought was solid crumbles beneath you and you're forced to rebuild. If you've ever felt like you're standing on the brink, this is the space for you. Welcome. The opportunity to observe others who have instincts well intact is central to retrieval. Eventually, the listening, looking, and acting in an integral manner becomes a pattern with a rhythm to it, one you practice until it is relearned and becomes automatic again. If our own wild natures have been wounded by something or someone, we refuse to lie down and die. We refuse to normalize this wound. We call upon our instincts and do what we have to do. The wildish woman is by nature intense and talented, but because of being cut away from her instincts, she is also naive, accustomed to violence, adaptive to expatriation and exmatriation. Lovers, drugs, drink, money, fame, and power cannot much help the damage done, but a gradual re entry to the instinctual life can. For this, a woman needs a mother, a good enough, wildish mother. And guess who is waiting? The wild woman wonders, what is taking you so long? If you are striving to do something you value, it is so important to surround yourself with people who unequivocally support your work. It is both a trap and a prison to have friends who have the same injuries, but no real desire to heal them. These kinds of friends encourage you to act outrageously outside of your natural cycles, out of sync with your soul's needs. So interesting. So we are back and we are still opening with Women Who Run with the Wolves from Clarissa Pincola Estes, PhD. And what an interesting intro to my conversation with someone that I've been speaking with off and on for years. Jarrett, welcome, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I
Yeah,
love their reading. Their reading, you know, like halfway in the middle of it, I was just like, I just
I
kind of made a face.
know.
Like, you was talking to me?
I
You talking?
know. I was like, but that's how it is. So for folks who don't know, who are just joining us on the brink, welcome, welcome back. Zoe Flowers here. I always open with a reading from this book, and in some way, it always ties into the conversation that we are going to have. So this week, Jared and I are going to talk about grief, how we carry it, how we hide it, how it changes us, often before we even recognize it. And so Jarrett is a storyteller, a podcast host dedicated to have Black folks grow, heal, and improve their lives bit by bit through real talk, mindset shifts, and genuine care. So we are going to talk about grief and depression through the lens of Black masculinity, unpacking myths, realities, and possibilities of healing. And one of the things that really stood out with me from that reading is how linking ourselves to people who have the same wounds as we do and they have no desire to heal them. So we'll definitely come back to that in the
Please. Yeah.
conversation. Because what? So, Jared, how are you arriving today? How are you doing?
I am surviving. I am
Mhm.
surviving. So what we talked about is grief comes healing in general. And I think I just mentioned this on my podcast that just came out. That healing is not linear.
Yeah.
And oftentimes in our minds, we assume that it is because we think it's just a broken bone. You put a cast on it, and then after a few weeks, it heals. And the issue, in fact, is like when you're healing, especially mentally and emotionally, you can have a good, productive day and then wake up the next day and be like, nope, it's not happening today. It's excuse me, I'm gonna watch Scrubs and eat ramen, take out ramen today. That's what it looks like today. Today, I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling good. Obviously, I'm in great company, so that helps things
Thank
well.
you. Yeah, thank you for that. So let's start with young Jarrett. What were you like as a younger person? I always like to figure that out with folks.
Young Jared was wow. I hadn't thought about him in a while. Jared was energetic and imaginative and just full of gusto. He just thought whatever you decide to do, you're gonna do it and you're gonna be great at it and nothing's gonna stop you. I remember being 7 and I wanted to be a ninja when I grew up. That was the that's what I decided I was gonna do in my life. I'm like, I'm gonna be a ninja. And I was watching Super Friends, and they had this big computer there, and they would talk to the world leaders, and then you just go there and you just kick a little butt, and then you
Yeah,
everything. And then
yeah,
I remember sharing it with my mom. My mom was like, "But baby, how you gonna get paid for that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure the world leaders will give me like some kind of thank
of
you
course.
for saving their life. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm a ninja, mama. I mean, duh."
Not,
And
not I'm a ninja mama.
the bubble got busted as you got older, but beforehand, that it was whatever I could think of. I was like, yeah, let's do it. That's what's happening, and I felt fearless,
Mhm.
honestly. So just remember, I just told you I hadn't thought about him in such a long time. So when you say, what does young Jared look like? Just my mind's wow. Why can I bring that Jared here now at 40?
Mhm.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. And then thinking about also, we were talking a little bit about the fifth house, and the fifth house has to do with that inner child.
Mm.
And so revisiting some of that young Jared energy could be an interesting exploration.
Yeah, I gotta do that. I gotta tap into that for real.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important for us to, and that's why I like with this podcast, I've started to in the last couple of episodes, starting with who we were as young people and how that starts that fearlessness, because I definitely had that fearlessness too. I definitely felt like whatever I wanted to do, it was going to happen. Like,
Right.
so interesting. Do you feel like you were a magical child at all, or more? Obviously, you were imaginative, but were you more spiritual or magical, or what do you think?
I don't think so, but even if I was, I don't think it was truly nurtured. So I had like little blips here and there where, for example, just knowing I've always been a person that's been perceptive, like where I can look at someone or see how a situation is going and anticipate needs. And I did that a lot for my mom because she struggled with a lot of stuff with just depression, anxiety, alcoholism, drugs. Being there, I was able to anticipate stuff like that, and I felt like at times it's like that now, that a little empathic where just people just want that energy from you and want you to talk to them and everything, but after you get off, you like drained. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I need to lay down. And the only really quote unquote, I feel like real magical thing that kind of happened where I was just like blown away from is like, it was like actually in college. My dad's then fiance, he had a fiance then, and I had a dream that she had got sick and died, and I was upset. I was upset about it, and I walked around campus, and I ended up coming to my ex girlfriend's dorm, and I knocked on the door and kind of talked to her about it, and we hugged and everything. And I woke up, I'm like, okay, this is a weird dream because one, I don't even talk to her anymore. Like we're not cool at all, and two, I don't think my dad's fiance is like sick at all. Like she's in perfect health. So I'm like, this got to be some crazy, just random dream. A year later, my dad was visiting Louisiana, and he had just got back on a plane. And he had back, and my grandparents, they called me when I was in school. And they were like, hey, I just want to let you know that Cynthia died. And I was like, oh, and she like, your dad doesn't know because he's in the middle of the flight and everything. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. And I was just like broken up and I started walking and I still didn't know. I'm walking around campus. And as I walked to my ex-girlfriend, at that point, it's been a year. We're cool now. So everything had passed over. So I ended up walking around. I saw her dorm. I walked to her dorm and I knocked on the door. And as I knocked on the door, like the whole dream popped into my head. And I'm like, I'm making this face stone white. And she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh my God, this happened a year ago. She was like, what? Blown away. I and so I I'm I still get goosebumps thinking about it. Like I still get goosebumps. Like unbelievable. I don't know if I've had anything that significant since. You have dreams like here and there and something makes feel like deja vu,
Yeah.
but nothing exactly like that. That was crazy.
Wow. And you go to knock on the door and
As
things.
soon as I knock on the door, I'm like, oh, it just all everything came to me all at one time.
Wow. So do you think, as an adult now looking back, do you feel like magic or, yeah, just outside of like traditional spirituality, do you feel like that is something that is accessible to young Black boys? You do have the superheroes and there's some magicality in that. But when you think about the imaginal world, do you feel like Black boys have access to that? Or is that something that's more identified with young girls?
I think it's more towards young girls, not because they don't young black boys don't have the same
Yeah.
gifts.
Yeah.
I think it's because of how you're nurtured and raised. I think that plays a part. I think young black women have the ability to be nurtured in a way where they can trust their instincts and the sixth sense and a woman's intuition. All of those things have been created where young girls can lean into those things. And I think the issue with those gifts, those magical gifts, is that unless it's like flying or big bulging muscles or something like that with guys, it's like it's almost to the point where it's more looked at as it's as sensitive and
Yeah.
not masculine, even though there's no qualification on that. You are pushed to the point where you have to toughen up or you have to learn or just be a man or all the type of toxic masculinity. I think the advantage is who raised you and how nurturing were the individuals. Do they actually care about a magical background? Or are they open to things? Because some are very close-minded.
Yeah.
Some of them are
That
very
was the
close-minded.
conversation before the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that all plays a part. For me, my I was raised by my mom, and my grandma mostly. My dad was outside of the house by 84. So by one time I was 4 years old. So they were not open to that, but I could get away with things because I lived with my mom and my grandma. So I'm able to have a Cabbage Patch doll without being mocked. Or I'm able to hang out with my girl cousins and I put a t-shirt on my head to pretend like I'm one of them and without me looking a little strange. My uncles looked at me a little strange, but they let me slide with it because we was having
Wow.
fun. But I had those things where I wasn't as beaten down. But
Yeah.
also it hurt during adolescence because I'm this sensitive guy and everything. And now you're like, I'm not working on cars or grunting or all the typical male stuff that was going on in the middle school years. So that was a struggle for me and it clearly impacted my self-esteem.
Do you feel like that's sort of where, because we do get messages, right? We do get
Mhm.
messages at a very young age. This is what's acceptable. This is what's not acceptable. You're allowed to be in this club. You're not allowed to be in that club. Do you feel like there was a grief in that if you think about it now? Like, where do you
Oh
feel like
yeah.
grief crept in?
Yeah. Like not being accepted. I still at this grown age, I think I sometimes go back to being that 6 year old or 8 year old or 12-year old in middle school in those times where I just felt inadequate. I felt just like I'm like this big freak that people look at and like, why are you here? And especially as a natural introvert, I'm probably like in the middle. But like when in social situations, I definitely lean more towards the introvert side. So there's been times where it's like conferences and or little mixers or anniversary parties, and I'm just holding my drink and I'm sitting in the corner like I'm back in middle school watching Tiffany Walker dance with my big crush dance with this guy who was a basketball player. While Whitney Houston's "I Always Love You" is playing, and I'm just like, I'm not crying, you're crying. So,
I won't name my crush. I would not give him the satisfaction ever. But yes, school dance. Of course, I went to white school, so they was not playing Whitney Houston. They was playing Another One Bites the Dust. And I'm
mm.
older than you too. Yeah, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Oh, classic though.
I
Oh
know, it's a good
yeah, that's a
one.
classic. I love that song.
Yeah, and my crush refused to dance with me.
So, y'all had a see. At least y'all had a conversation. Like
We
Tiffany
did.
Walker. Oh, really? Because Tiffany Walker didn't know that I liked her. I liked her in fifth grade,
Oh,
and somebody asked me did I like her
oh,
while she was standing right there,
oh no.
and I was like, I wanted to be like, yeah, I'm in love with her, but I knew my friend Jarrell liked her, and so he said he was going after her, and I didn't want to hate, so I should have hated,
You
but
should have hated.
but I didn't. And
Yeah.
so she never knew that I liked her. She knows now. Like she's a designer out of Dallas. She
Okay.
killing it. CEO of Pink Lucy and everything. So I've had her on the podcast and I mentioned it. She just started laughing and she's like, yeah, you should have just told me. I just like,
Oh my gosh.
that's
Oh,
hilarious. That's
we like
hilarious.
Tiffany. She sounds nice.
Yeah, she's really nice. She's really
Yeah.
nice. Shout out to Tiffany.
Shout out to Tiffany. Aw. Shout out to Tiffany. So those things linger, right?
Oh yeah.
Those early little terrors. I've started to call disappointments little terrors. Terrors and could be tears too, right? Because they just
Yeah. Both.
little.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that we know is that depression and grief, they often intertwine, particularly in communities where expressing vulnerability might not always feel safe. So sounds like you had a lot of freedom or some sort of freedom until you got to be a certain age, and that's when you went internal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever seek help or anything like that as a young person? Like in
The youngest
college?
I saw help was like in college,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. I wish I would have stuck with it. I wish I knew enough about it. And I think that's where the disadvantages of what we had of my parents, my mom, my grandma, even my dad while I was there, didn't really have the foresight to know anything about depression or anxiety.
Yeah.
But in college, for my second semester, I guess I'm taking on so much emotion and everything. I'm just crying uncontrollably. Like I can't even hold it in. And just random. And then my friends are like worried about me. I'm like, you should go to the school counselor. Let's go to the counselor. And it was somebody in a grad student that's doing the hours and everything. You
Oh,
go there, and I talked to him for maybe one or two times. I'm like, I'm feeling better, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm fixed.
okay.
Because I didn't know. And then the following year, it happened again, and I had to end up going back. And instead of me dealing with it or scheduling some time or okay, let's figure out what's going on and let's unpack some of the stuff. I just avoided it, whether it was work or whether it was distractions dealing with other people's problems. I just distracted myself, and it didn't hit again. excuse me, until I moved here to Atlanta. Yeah, and that's when it started really happening again, and that's when I started really seeing people, but
Yeah.
not at all beforehand. Not just other than those two times in college.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like now things are changing a little bit. What was I watching? Something on TV. And one of the brothers was depressed. I can't remember what it was, but he didn't want to see a doctor. And then he was playing basketball. His friends were all like, oh, yeah, I see somebody. And then the other one was like, yeah, me too. The other one was like, me too. Oh, it was,
The movie?
no, you know what it was?
Oh,
It was the second season of Survival of the Thickest.
oh,
Mel
okay, okay,
Bluto's
okay.
HBO
Yeah,
special.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this second season, one of her best friend goes through depression after a breakup, more like existential just crisis overall that he had been
Yeah,
carrying. And then come to find out, all his homeboys were in therapy, but nobody was talking about it.
exactly, exactly. And I think that's so common in the community where it's like, I if I am gonna see somebody, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm gonna see somebody. I feel uncomfortable telling you about it, and other people who might go through the same issue. And I think that's what it takes in order for us to just stop healing behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more so hey, I am not okay. It's okay to say that I'm not okay. I'm going through some stuff. I need a little additional help, and it's so very hard to do that as a person in general. But it's so hard to do it as a black male, and it's so hard to do it when your mom's only child and all you do is make her smile and say different things. It's so hard to do it when your daughter is 17 and you want to put up a good front. It's hard to do it when you're the oldest of your siblings and you're supposed to be the strong one, big brother. And and whether those pressures have been created externally or internally or a little bit of both, you feel that pressure each and every time, and it makes you cry harder silently because of the fact that you don't feel like you're strong enough, and you don't feel like you shouldn't be this way. You shouldn't be sad. And I had a good cry before I got on with you, where I was like getting on myself. Why am I like this? Why am I feeling this way? So it's giving yourself grace, which is so hard to do.
Yeah. Why do you think obviously with my mom's passing, I've been talking a lot about grief and the way that it's handled in other, not even just communities, but like here in the West, in the United States, it's handled so differently. Why do you think that this country has such a hard time with people being sad, with people having the full range of their emotions?
I think in the West, we're just taught that we need to, it's more fast paced. It's more like we need to move on quickly and get to the next thing in life. And there's also, I go even deeper. I also think it has a lot to do with our relationships here in the West too. In countries, and maybe in the Far East.
Yeah.
If you have an elder there, the way they're loved and respected is different from how it is in the West. We love them a deal, but the way they love their grandmother is just, it's almost like revered. And excuse me, like for me, my dad died 3 years ago, and although we didn't have the relationship that you had with your mom, we had a very tumultuous relationship. I can honestly say that he was the most impactful person in my life, good or bad, because of how I felt about him and because of the highs and the lows of which we had. And so we were not in a great place when he died. And my younger sister was in a great place with him. And she was supposed to be the one that's going to take care of all the things because they had talked about it and everything. And I remember a year before that we had a dinner and that was mentioned at the dinner. And I'm looking like, she ain't gonna be the one to talk about it. She ain't gonna be the one to do it. I'm gonna have to sit there and step up and do it because of the emotional connection that they
Yeah.
had. And sure as that happened, he died in Tampa. He was alone, and we had to have a sheriff come out there and check in and all that. So she's emotional wreck. I'm trying to gather the siblings together. Everybody's, oh, this kind of happened suddenly. I don't know if I can do this. I'm looking for a job here. I got to sit there and do this. I got these other trips. I hop in the car and I drive to Tampa, and I'm literally cleaning blood off the floor and trying to get everything straight and doing all this other stuff. And it got to the point where one of my uncles came to help. And it's not like I'm just getting on my siblings. We all handle grief differently, but I felt like that was the responsible thing that I had to do as an older one. And for me, I remember driving down there and being so angry that I was feeling emotion. I literally, it was so weird, Zoe, because I wanted to, so I wanted to honor him,
Yeah.
and I'm driving down there, and so I'm thinking about him, so I'm playing music that resonated with us. There was times he was a big Lionel Richie fan, so I'm listening to Lionel Richie, and I'm fighting tears like, stop, and I'm pounding myself in the chest because I'm mad. I'm so angry at myself for having these tears coming down. You are not allowed to feel grief. You're not allowed to feel grief because you didn't have that relationship with him. Siobhan did. Siobhan can cry all day. You don't deserve to feel that grief. So I'm listening to Lionel Richie. I'm listening to Notorious B.I.G. because I put him on to a couple of Biggie songs. So I'm listening to these songs and I'm reminiscing, I'm smiling, but I'm angry. So it's a whole multitude of emotions going on. I'm speeding because I'm so angry. I get stopped by the police. It's a whole ordeal just driving from Atlanta to Tampa because I refuse to acknowledge these emotions because I feel like I'm not deserving to feel that grief. And I think that's going back to your question because I feel like I went a long way around. But going back to your question, I think that's what the Western society is. It's okay. We need to move on. Like you get 3 days of bereavement. It's only if your mom, dad, grandma, or grandpa. If it's your uncle, sorry. You know what I mean? And then I'm going one step above. Nobody at work knows that my dad died. The only reason why people knew is that some people who I was actually Facebook friends with, when my sisters tagged the memorial, they tagged me and they saw it there. Nobody knew. I was still working from home on my computer working while I'm packing my dad's stuff up. I refuse to tell anybody because not only do I have to be strong for my sisters, not only did I have to be strong for myself because I didn't deserve to feel grief, but now you only got 3 days of bereavement. And I got so annoyed with people. I remember getting annoyed with people when they would send an email to work saying, "Yeah, my dad died, and so here is my Cash App if you want to sit there and donate some stuff and everything." And I'm just like what's the mentality here? Like you just suck it up and you just deal with it. And so that's what I was doing. And I'm crying and no one knew, and I'm struggling, and that's the West. That's America for you. That's how it's so much different from the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's just so much there that you said, and the fact that you have to quantify the kind of relationship you had in order for you to be able to grieve. Like you didn't deserve to grieve just as much as other people in your family because of the relationship. And sometimes we're grieving the relationship we didn't have.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Trust and believe she was cursing me out in the hospice.
Then you get it. Then you get it.
Like, she
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
straight up ignoring me, and then other people would walk in the room and she would talk to them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It was hard because I would watch my dad put on that charm for people. You know what I mean? I would watch him put on that charm and just be like, "Hey, how you?" They're like, "Why you sitting there talk? Why do you talk shit about your dad? He's a great guy." I'm just like,
yeah.
the same guy that like 2 years back when I was like suicidal and I was at my grandfather's funeral and I'm going through it and my aunts are like, "Talk to your son." Talk to your son, and he's like, "Come on, son, come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
son." Yeah. And it was also his upbringing. He didn't have the
Yeah.
best upbringing either. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And so that just cycles through.
It just cycles through. It cycles through. And it's even though we can, because we've had the benefit that they didn't have, therapy, self-reflection, all those things, is we can intellectualize it, but it still hurts as children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was an Aquarius man, so that
Yeah. Oh, well, say no more. Say no more. So, how do you feel now, 3 years later, as you look back at that time?
I was thinking about that. I was telling you that story, and one thing I kept thinking about is probably not a lot has changed. I still feel really guilty for grieving them, like still. And growing up, my dad was like, he's my hero. Like we'd watch wrestling together. I didn't get back. I fell off from wrestling for a little while until after he died. That's why I came back almost to honor him because he was still watching it. But it was just like we would watch wrestling together. We would play and body slam and play basketball and sing songs and come all these little things that we would come up with. And then it just got older and I had a daughter and I saw what he was doing with his daughters and I was just like, dude, I have a daughter. How can you do this? And so that relationship just got so muddled.
Okay. Gotcha.
And for me is, am I allowed to sit there? I'm allowed to think about the good times, but am I allowed to miss him because of the relationship we had? So I've let my guard down a lot because I used to be so angry.
Yeah.
Like my people were like, "Oh, you look just like your daddy." I don't not look like my dad. I was like, and now I get it. And I just smirk. I'm just like, because he's not here, but I don't know if I have the right. I want to have the right. I want to allow myself to sit there and do it, but so much time had passed. But I do miss him. There are times where things come up, and I remember like during his memorial, I made this video, this collection of all the photos with him and people in his life and us and the kids and everything like that. And I put it to this Lionel Richie song, which my friend called the saddest song ever created. It was a Lionel Richie song called Goodbye. And clearly made everybody cry then, but I swear, like about 3 weeks ago, I was scrolling my phone and I found the video and I just stopped and just watched it for 2 minutes. And I'm like with my hand in my my head in my hand, just, and then getting a little teary eyed. I'm just like, so I want to grieve, I want to miss him, and I would love for him to see that my daughter's 17 and who she is as a person and just who I am as an individual, as a man now. But I just struggle with feeling like I have that right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's your father, so you have the right.
Yeah.
Regardless of the relationship, I think that goes back to that fifth house. I think that goes back to that inner child,
Yeah.
that young Jarrett that we started this conversation with. He has a right to grieve. Young Jarrett has a right to grieve what was taken from him.
Yeah. Young Jarrett definitely misses his dad.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think that, or what are some sort of practical ways that you would have liked to have been supported by other men? Or, yeah, we'll start there first. What are some practical ways? Maybe what are some practical ways if you've been supported by other Black men?
It was surprise. I don't think it will surprise you that I don't have a whole lot of male friends,
Mhm.
but the ones I do have, they are A1. They're more like brothers,
Yeah.
and it's like my three of us, a little college group. We call ourselves the Pro Stars.
Okay.
Named after the 90s cartoon. And my friend Garrett had just lost, and this is another thing about it. It ties on what we were talking about.
Yeah.
He had just lost his dad maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
None of us knew about it because he didn't mention it at all.
Wait,
None of us knew about it.
3 weeks ago from today?
No, 3 weeks ago from when I lost my dad. None of us knew about it. He just halfway mentioned it when he was there and just showed up and was just there for the family. And not just for me. Because Brooklyn's there, so he's there for Brooklyn. He's there for my sisters. He was camped out there. He spent the night in my sister's house because he was with us the entire day for the memorial service. He was like asking what we needed. We didn't even know. And like in the times we reached out to him to be like, "What do you need something? What do you want?" He like, oh, like he didn't want to talk about it. And I think it was beneficial for both of us because he needed people because he's a cancer man. He's cancer.
Oh.
Talk about this big three. Cancer sun, Pisces moon. But but he lives in his South Node energy. He lives in that Capricorn energy. So he doesn't emote.
Oh, yeah. And he has a
Yeah.
Capricorn South Node.
Yeah, so he doesn't emote at all, and so he needed, yeah, he needed that. Also, Mars Libra, it's a wild combination.
Listen, is he going to listen to the podcast?
No, but I made him find his time of birth to give me his chart. I looked at that, I was like,
We're not going to speak on his, we're not going to
no,
speak
I
out on
love
his,
him, but I just want to give him a hug. I just want to give him a hug. But that's what he
a
needed.
million hugs.
He needed that time. And that's why he was camped out there with us for days
God.
because he needed that support, but he didn't want to bring it up or talk about it. And the thing about it is, I needed that support from him. I wanted people around, but I wasn't gonna be like, "Oh, I need y'all around. I'm gonna sit there and talk to y'all." But the moment I got up I woke up from my mom's house. I was putting clothes on so I could head to my sister's house so I could be in their presence.
Wait.
And that's what you needed. You just needed the presence and just somebody just to be there for you without you having to ask for it. And
Oh,
nothing in particular, but just that presence, that support helped a lot. And then we could sit there and talk about old times. And we made a playlist of Dad's favorite songs, and we just sit there and talk about random things and just giggled. And that was needed. Yeah. That Cancer, Pisces, Cancer. I see you still. That's a lot. That's a lot.
yes, you're right. But you didn't want to ask for it, which
No.
makes sense. Some of us are just like that. We just don't want to ask.
Yeah.
But do you not ask because you're trained that you're supposed to be strong, or do you not ask because you fear that your needs will not be met?
Yes. I think.
To both.
Yeah, you got them both. I think I am trained to do that. I feel like I have been trained to do that. But I think more so for me as an individual, I think it's more so about I'm not gonna get what I want. Like the way I will even now like, in the struggles I've had recently, I could be completely broke, have no food in the house and everything. Jerry, you need anything? No, fine. I am great. Because if I say, yes, I need something. Oh, I'm not going to be on that side of town next time. Oh, okay. And I literally let my guard down enough where I was going to count on you. And I think it might be more so of a control issue. Dad not being there for a while, my mom being on drugs, all of that stuff. So clearly, that's a control issue from my past. But I don't want to let my guard down and be disappointed because that hurts worse than you just not doing something for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you feel that, or do you feel that other Black men or the Black men in your circle can support you in that? How do you feel they can support you in that?
The great thing about the Pro Stars, we had those conversations.
Yeah.
And we're a good group of guys that actually have those conversations and mention that. And I think one of the things that we've done is it just we'll set up like monthly calls where we just checking
Mm,
and we run it. It's like if it's like some kind of meeting where people have their reports and all this other stuff and old business and new business, but we check in on each other. It's a spot for you to be vulnerable and to be open and to say this is what I'm struggling with, and you know that it's really weird to have people in your life, especially guys, that you can say something and you know that I can text them the next day or call them or we have a meeting next month and they're still gonna love you the same way. They're not gonna, there's no judgment. There's no, oh my God, you were crying about this. So I might have an episode where I'm sitting there struggling with stuff and I mention it and then another member might have that same issue, but it comes in waves in like different parts of the year.
yeah.
But no one's going to judge because we've all been there.
Yeah.
And I think it's a matter of being able to have an open forum where you can talk about it, where you can have a space. You may not be able to formulate the words. I had a podcast guest named Dominic Lawson who mentioned this that a lot of when it comes to women, if you equate the colors, they have that whole 64 crayon pack, where guys may only have that 8 pack. So we don't know every bit of emotion that we're having. We don't know how to really describe it. What might be plum in that 64 pack, I thought that was just purple. So we don't necessarily know for sure which one is which. And so when you have an open space, a space where it's safe, where you can speak, you might not know that the feeling you feeling is plum, but you got a space where you can sit there and talk, and then we as a group can figure it out together. Is it purple? No. Is it taupe? Is it? And we can go from there to figure that out. So I think that space creates a lot of opportunity to grow emotionally.
I love that. And what do you think folks misunderstand about Black men and grief and depression?
That we don't go through it, that we hide because we're trying to hide it, and
Yeah,
we're not open enough to sit there and just cry in front of you or emote in front of you, that we're being a hard ass, and we're we're okay, and this bothers them
yeah,
emotionally. Like, I
yeah.
think that's the thing. Men have emotions. Ha, probably I could argue we are more emotional
You are more
than women
emotional.
because we don't display it, so we internalize it all. So when it does come out, it comes all the way out like a flash flood. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I think you can't argue the fact that men are emotional,
You know,
but it's the misconception that we're not.
yeah. That's
And
yeah,
and as
yeah,
open and as I am, where I'm sitting there talking about feelings and emotions,
yeah,
I won't emote. And I will say it, like, I will have a breakup with somebody, and I'll tell them before, like, prior to a breakup, hey, if we have a breakup, I'm gonna act like nothing is wrong with me. I'm just letting you know. You're gonna be upset because you're gonna think that Jarrett didn't really care about you. I'm just not gonna act like that because I can't. And so when it happens, it's like he didn't even care. He not emotional at all. I'm just going through my day because we don't feel like we got that space to do it.
because as you said, you don't have access to all of the colors in the crayon box.
Right.
What y'all gonna do about that?
Listen to this podcast and open up. I mean, it takes getting rid of toxic masculinity things that you've grown up with.
Mm,
It takes being a more open individual, and this is why I think the universe for my daughter, because when my co-parent was pregnant, I wanted a son. I wanted somebody. I just wanted a son so I could wrestle with. If he act up, I could pop him in the chest and be like, "Urgh." And that's what I wanted. And when that doctor said you having a girl, I was like, but what am I doing with a girl? And Brooklyn being here is one of the best things that happened to me because I'm able to open up. I'm able to share emotions now. Like, for her to be a daddy's girl at 17, that we spent 2 days 2 nights ago, we were on the phone, and she was just telling me about her friend group and the pool parties and what she was wearing and this and that. And I'm just like, okay. And she's like, you remember Grace? And I'm like, oh, Grace, she came back. And so we're having these conversations. I would not be this person if it wasn't for her. And I think as men, we got to take advantage of those relationships that we have and not just compartmentalize them into that being a relationship, spread that out and expand that to all walks of all our relationships. I've
yeah.
never felt more comfortable in my skin right now that I have in my entire life. And I've told you about my struggles with my self-esteem and imposter syndrome. I'm saying in air quotes. I said air quotes. I
I
said air
know. Thank you
quotes.
for the air quotes. I appreciate it.
But I've never felt comfortable in my own skin, which says a lot because I am able to sit there and emote the way I want to emote. If I'm sad, I'm gonna say it. If I'm mad, I'm angry. If I don't feel anything, I don't feel anything. I don't lock myself into that narrow scope of
Yeah.
male emotions.
Yes.
I'm not gonna tell you my crayon box is 64 colors,
Yes.
but it's more than eight. I'll say I'm out 16,
Yeah.
32, something
I
like that.
love it.
24. 24 colors. That's
I love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. And what I really hope that people hear and understand too is that you have a group of men that you're like finding those colors with. You're not extracting from women like
Yeah.
to get those emotional needs met because
Yeah.
it just doesn't work over
Yeah.
time.
You can't just rely on, and I did it for a long period of time. I just relied on
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
because it's all I knew.
Yeah.
I couldn't
That's
emote to my dad.
yeah.
Yeah. So finding that group that's also doing it, it makes you feel a lot better.
Yeah. Did you all like how did you come to that? Did somebody have to let their guard down or like
I
how
was me.
long did it take y'all to get to that stage?
It was interesting because in college, like, we were like, I was over the activities board. Charlie was over the Student Government Association, and Garen was over like the Panhellenic Council. So we all were like leaders, student leaders in that regard. So we all had similar things that we had to take care of and do. But at the same time, I think it was like kismet because we all our dorm rooms was lined up on the same hall. So we hung out all the time. We started sharing experiences. And it's still kind of guy hangout, but we a little goofy because we were like, oh, let's do a freestyle rap on this song and let's do this. But I don't think it was until like after Charlie and I graduated where the real world kicked us in the ass and we were like, okay, this, like, we're crying. And so now that's when we start opening up. I think life exposed us to start doing that. I think in a controlled environment, when you limit it to just hip hop and what's going on campus and women, it's not a whole lot. You got to have somebody make that first move. I'm pretty sure it was me because I'm pretty sure I was emotional and going through some stuff because I had just moved to Atlanta and I moved with a duffel bag and $100. So I was struggling with life. So I'm pretty sure I was the first one to emote, and I'm pretty sure that I'm the one that emotes the most out of the three of us. But
More
but
than
it's a
the
space
cancer.
that we all can emote now.
Yeah, more than the cancer.
More than the
The
cancer.
Cancer Pisces.
The cancer, Pisces, cancer. Yeah, I emote way more than him. I would tell him to come see you. I would tell him to come see you.
I'm afraid. I don't know. I'm low key nervous.
Oh, when I saw that chart, I closed my phone. I was like, look, I'm good here. I need to marinate over there for a little while. He sent me the chart. I was like, I'm okay. I still hadn't talked to him about it. That might have been a couple of months ago. I need some time.
Oh no. And now you're talking about it on the podcast. No.
I'll call him before it. I'll call
You
him.
better. He's a Cancer. He's gonna be mad. Pisces too. No, I'm just kidding. He'll be
I know. Good luck.
We're both
Oh, man.
quiet. We're both like
I know because you're just thinking about it. It's like,
waiting our
oh.
conversation.
Oh man.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. So, well, this is good. I think people can learn from this, right? Get your small group, and it's like a small group because I would imagine probably if it was like 5, 6, 7 dudes, it might be intimidating
Yeah.
to be that real. So it sounds like
Yeah.
when this work in small groups makes, although there are men's circles and all of that, but
Yeah. But if you're intimidated of doing a whole men's circle, because that is some intimidation, especially if you're like an introvert and you're not used to sharing.
yeah,
Like you go into a group with 20 guys or
yeah,
15 guys. No, I'm not doing that at all. You start with maybe somebody that you know that's known you for a little while, and then
yeah,
you don't have to sit there and start crying in front of them.
sure.
You leak something that's more than just talking about sex or talking about what's going on or the NBA finals. And then you mentioned a little something and see, test the waters. When you get in that hot tub, you stick your foot in to see if it's too hot or not. It's the same way with the conversation. So
Yeah,
do a little test there, and then that's how you build from. That's honestly how me and the Pro Stars did it. We just
yeah.
it's just a little test, and then it gets built from there. And now at least one of us is crying on the call.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I don't
Probably
love
me.
that you're crying, but I
Probably
love that
me,
you're
but
crying.
at least one of us.
Yeah, I love that. Just imagine if our parents had access to that.
Yeah.
Different our lives would have been if our
Yeah.
parents were allowed to express the full range. Because Black women, we aren't really allowed to express the full range of our
Absolutely
emotions
not.
either.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And I guess maybe we really haven't taken into account, I guess we have, the true impact of enslavement and family separation and how we're still like reconciling that we are people with emotions. We're not workhorses. We're actually
Right.
people with emotions. And maybe it's because we're not far enough. My great grandmother was born on a plantation, and I knew her. She died at 99. So it's
Oh
like
wow.
right there. My mother
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
83. My mother was 83 when she died. Come on, that's really old.
Yeah.
That's a lot of like old-timey learning and programming.
And it's hard to get past that programming.
It's hard to get
It's
past
and it's
programming.
even if you're trying, it's hard to get past that programming.
Yeah. And they weren't trying.
No.
They were
They
survive.
were locked in. Like whatever it is, this is what life is.
Yeah,
What do you mean change? What do you mean
yeah.
think outside the box? This is what life is about.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
surviving. We're trying to not have our house burned down. We're trying to not have our
yeah,
burn in a church. Like we're
yeah, exactly.
literally, we don't
Yeah,
have the time that us young people, I guess they would say, to philosophize on this type of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, we're still learning and growing. So I've been going through this grief process for myself. I've started to look at grief as a portal. And so if grief is a portal, if grief takes us from one place to another, what do you think grief has taught you about yourself?
Grief has taught me to be present more because I feel like I'm so impatient. So I'm always trying to go to the next thing. And grief has told me to just sit
Mm,
there
yeah.
and let those feelings wash over you.
Yes.
Grief has taught me it's still teaching me patience. I think grief ain't done with me yet. I think grief is
Okay.
still teaching me patience because giving yourself grace has become like such a norm saying with everything.
I
But
know.
how many people actually are doing it? You know what I mean? Like how many people are actually doing it consistently? I don't do it consistently. I, I,
Maybe we
no.
need a new word. I'm getting tired of that.
I'm getting
I'm
tired
getting
of it
tired of
too.
these phrases. It's like,
Yeah,
what do we
yeah,
mean? What does that even mean?
yeah. What does it mean? So let's give it a new saying. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
me
can't. I'm not clever off the top of my head. We'll come up with
me
something.
either.
But
We'll come up with something. By the time the show
but
airs, we'll
we'll have something
have a
new.
new
Yeah,
phrase.
we'll have something new. But I think it's I think it's just about doing it, about not putting so much pressure on yourself
Yeah.
to be that. And like I said, I've been leaning on that phrase. Healing is not linear.
No.
So recognizing that. So I think those two things are the main things that I think has taught me.
Yeah.
I sometimes and I want to learn that it's okay for me to grieve, no matter what. Like going by what you just said, like he's my dad, I can grieve if I want to grieve. If if I couldn't grieve when Michael Jackson died to the point that I couldn't watch the memorial service, like I could not watch it. And if I can grieve Michael Jackson, now Michael Jackson did play a significant part of my life, but I never met the man. And if I grieve Michael Jackson, why can't I grieve my dad?
I think it's different, right? I think it's different because you didn't know him. He didn't harm you. He didn't hurt your feelings. He didn't
That's
disappoint
true.
you,
That's true.
right? I feel like there are some things that, and this is just from doing like spiritual work with people. A lot of the times people don't want to open that door because they don't want to look that boogeyman in the face because they fear they'll never stop crying. If I allow myself to grieve this, what's coming after that?
Yeah, that's true.
So I
That's
feel like that happens sometimes.
real.
I also feel like maybe we haven't come up with a shared understanding as Black people in particular in the United States of what grieving means. What does it look like? Because we haven't seen it operationalized. Because
Yeah.
guess what? Again, we are the descendants of enslaved people who had children in fields and then had to go back to work.
We that's interesting. We weren't allowed to grieve then, so
Oh,
why would we know now?
why would
There's
we
nothing
not?
that's been passed down to us to teach us how to grieve.
Our, I'm not going to say our, I received spankings and was told to be quiet or they were going to give me something to cry for. So
I got that too. Yeah, I got that too.
So it's
Right.
like, and so much of that again was born out of enslavement. Like we couldn't show our emotions because we didn't want to make master upset, because if we made master upset, then we could get sold. So our emotions were dangerous. And again, we are like a couple. I just told you my great grandmother was born on a plane. That's two generations out of slavery.
Yeah.
So that programming is still here. So maybe we have to like really figure out like what grief rituals look like for us as African American people.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know what that looks like.
We don't know what it looks like.
We got to go
So
back to work. We damn near are still on the plantation.
yeah, we got to figure it out, and it's up to our generation to figure it out so we can
Yeah,
pass it down.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
'Cause
so.
we're that bridge, right? It's like you said, we're that bridge between what the old generations was doing and what they would not ever, because they was locked into that programming, and what's going on now. So it's even more important for us to sit there and come up with those traditions and what they look like. And
Yeah.
it may not be like some big grandstanding thing that we do, like here is the traditions on how we grieve as Black people and going forward. But it might start with your family. You start with, if your daughter goldfish dies, hey, I know how much you love Goldie. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your feelings and everything. Let's be like on a Cosby show and have a goldfish funeral for Goldie. Whatever it is that's going to be established in that house, let's do that so that the new generation can know what grieving looks like.
It can't be, obviously, look at the United States. It can't be suck it up and keep going. It does not
It
work.
can't.
It
It
does
doesn't
not
work.
work.
It didn't work before, and the damn sure doesn't work now.
No. And it's not even working for the people who created the paradigm.
Right.
Clearly. And yeah, so we need to figure that out for ourselves. What a grief practice looks like for contemporary African American people.
Agreed.
Yeah. Ongoing.
Ongoing. Yeah.
My friend was in Bali and she said that an elder had died and the whole community, and I can't remember how long, maybe it was a week, maybe it was 2 weeks, or maybe it was a month, I think. It was a long time by like our standards. It was a big thing. Like everybody participated, like everybody in the village, like building the person's actual coffin, building the structure that because they were walking the structure through the town, cooking the food. Like it was like a big thing celebrating this person's life. And yeah, we could learn from that. We could learn from that.
I like that. I like that concept.
Yeah.
Love that.
I always like to ask people at the end, what's one thing that you're grieving and one thing you're grateful for?
One thing I'm grieving. What's the one thing that I'm grieving right now? I think I'm grieving. I mentioned to you before we start recording that I lost my job like almost 9 months ago. So I don't want to say that I'm grieving a job necessarily,
Why not?
but I think more so I'm grieving the consistent and dependent income
Okay.
for me to be able to do what I want to do.
Yes.
So I think what that job provided me was a means to still continue the podcast, still continue to reach people, interact with people. And it's in the last 9 months, it's been hard to do that because I'm so worried about the next day and the next meal, these bills coming up. So it's almost made me feel disingenuous about the type of energy that I'm giving to people to be 1% better every day, because I don't know if I'm being 1% better every day. So I'm grieving that because it's not allowing me to be the full version of Jarrett that I want to be, have that full gamut of all my superpowers, if you will.
Okay.
The one thing that I'm grateful for is the people in my life that won't let me crumble. And again, I told you off camera, it got dark for a little while for me fairly recently, and it was to the point I'm just trying to figure out if I was gonna what the plan was or how I was gonna get myself out of here.
Yeah.
And I had friends and family that would not let me do it. Like they're calling me, they're doing drive-bys, they're coming in. I may see them at a Smoothie King and they're like, come on, you getting Chipotle? I'm about to buy you some Chipotle, or just something to try to lift my spirits, or just simple words or check messages that they sent to see if I'm all right. I might not even respond, but I read it. I guarantee you I read it and I appreciate it. So to all of those individuals that won't let you fall, I am so grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. We're glad you're here. And how can people support you? Talking about support, your podcast, your Cash App, your Venmo, like how can people support you?
You can support me with the podcast too. I'm always going to ask for support with the podcast. At the end of the time, it's a podcast about self-discovery, helping you be 1% better every day, not coming from a place of a standpoint of that I am an expert. Obviously, you've listened to us for this time frame.
Yep.
I am not an expert, but we're in this together and it's creating that community to I might share my stories in the hopes that you get some kind of insight about where you're at and start thinking about it, that you're not alone. New episodes are available on Tuesdays, all podcasting platforms. You can follow me on all the social media. Just It's About Damn Time podcast. It'll pop up. I'm there, Jerry. I'm looking like this, so you can definitely see me.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. And so you'll give us the show notes and all of that. So you'll give us that information on everything will be in the show notes for folks. And again, checking out Jarrett's podcast. It's About Damn Time, drops on Tuesdays. And funny enough, so does Come to the Brink with Zoe Flowers. We drop on Tuesdays at 7:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so again, Jarrett, thank you so much. This has been such a good conversation.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate you having me.
yeah, and I've been leaving folks with like little homework or little affirmations. And so what I want to leave people with this week, just journaling, is what part of my grief am I ready to share, honor, or release today? What part of my grief am I ready to share, honor, or release today? All right. And as always, if something moved you, feel free to reach out to me because, as I always say, none of us should stand on the brink alone. I am Zoe Flowers, and I will see you all soon.